Welcome back to my channel Study with Gracie and Creative Minds Together. So today we will be learning a new chapter, a new lesson of biology, that is nutrition in plants. Now what is this nutrition? And what are the types of nutrition? First, understanding this, we will learn about what is nutrition and nutrients. So, the components of the food that are necessary for our body are called nutrients. And what is exactly nutrition and nutrients? So, nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. And these nutrients help us to grow, repair the damaged part of our body, get energy to carry out several life processes like we know playing, walking, etc. Now what is this nutrition? The process of taking in food by an organism and its utilization by the body is called nutrition. So the process of taking in food means जो हम खाना लेते हैं और उनका utilization and the energy, the nutrients which we get through it is known as nutrition. Now there are two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Now autotrophic nutrition are in plants and this heterotrophic nutrition are in some animals and some plants also, some non-green plants that we can say. Now let's talk about autotrophic nutrition. Now autotrophic nutrition. Green plants prepare their own food with the help of carbon dioxide in air, water and sunlight from the sun. This mode of nutrition where plants prepare their own food is known as autotrophic nutrition. So this autotrophs means, auto means self and tropism means, and tropic means feeding, self-feeding. So the word autotrophic means self-feeding, and plants also prepare their own food to feed the other parts of the plant. Such plants are therefore also called autotrophs. Now you have seen many leaves, some are of different color and mainly the leaves you all have seen are of green colors. Now there is a question, why are leaves green? This is because of a chloroplast, means the number of green leaves and young stems of plants that contain numerous structure. Like we can see here, it contains numerous structure, and this chloroplast only contains the pigment called chlorophyll. The chloroplast contains the pigment called chlorophyll that traps energy from the sunlight and makes the leaf green. Now see the underside of the leaf. We generally know that the stomata, that are the tiny pores through which leaves take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen, is present underside of the leaf. So for controlling the closing and the opening of these stomata, guard cells are present that are surrounded by stomata. Now let's talk about photosynthesis. you are normally able to see a simple plant. This is our sun. Suppose this is our sun. We let make it, this contains water and nutrition, this blue part, and these are the rays of the sun. Now this sunlight we get from the sun, we got water from the soil. Now what are the things we need for photosynthesis? Air. We take in air through stomata, that is not air exactly, that is carbon dioxide. Now after all these processes, what can be the formula of making this? That is carbon, that is CO2 we will write, plus water, H2 only, H2O. Okay, 1 minute, yes, that is CO2 plus water is equal, we need that for it, chlorophyll, sunlight, and in the result that we get is glucose. We get glucose after the photosynthesis, means the food prepared by the plant is known as glucose, plus oxygen. The food that we get after the photosynthesis is known as glucose, and we also get air to breathe for us, that is oxygen. Now this glucose is converted into starch, that is stored in the leaves, roots, and other parts of the plant, that is stem also. Now there is one more thing, that the water minerals absorbed by the plants are transported to the leaf through xylem vessels. This is nothing much about it, we will not talk about much about it, but xylem vessels are like a tube, a pipe that run through the stem from the roots. Means they are like a pipe, they take in water, they transport into the stem and to the other parts of the plant. Now this is okay. Now let's again talk about the necessary condition for photosynthesis, that is presence of chlorophyll, and second condition is presence of sunlight. Third is availability of our carbon dioxide and water, that carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. We get minerals also from the soil, that is needed by the plants. Now let's talk about how can we test a starch is present in the leaf or not. It also contains a simple method, means to test a starch in a leaf. First we boil it in the water, then means we boil it in the water to make it soft, and then we keep the leaf in the alcohol, and from this alcohol in a beaker we boil water also, means we do not allow the alcohol to boil much, but the water to boil, so that to decolorize the leaf, means to make the leaf colorless. Now this is not alcohol, that is alcohol. Now after this process we wash the leaf again to remove the excess of alcohol, as it had been dipped in the alcohol. So to remove the excess of this alcohol we dip in the water to wash it. Now for testing a starch we need a iodine solution. This is iodine solution that is being dropped on the leaf by a drop. Now keep a leaf on a tile and use the drop of iodine and check whether the leaf turns blue or black or remains the same. If the leaf turns into blue and black color, it means that leaf contains starch. Now moving forward, now let's check that the rate of photosynthesis is affected by light or not. So let's check the rate of the photosynthesis affected by light. Now you are able, this is a hydrilla, not podweed, it is a hydrilla plant. Okay, now you are able to see a beaker over here and a funnel. This is our beaker and a funnel, and from the top of it a test tube is being kept. Carefully we have to do it, that we will keep a test tube like this. Now keep it in the sunlight. You will be able to see that the bubbles are forming and escaping from there. But when the sun is not there, the bubbles will reduce, not get vanish over there, but start getting reduced in number. Now moving forward, now let's test about the chlorophyll. Is chlorophyll necessary for the photosynthesis? Chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. How can we test it? We will be using the method that we used for testing a starch in any leaf that we did. We have to use the same method with the money plant. Now we would be able to observe that the white portion of these leaves, we can see here, does not turns blue and black in color, but the green portion converts into blue and black color. So this means the chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Means the white portion doesn't contain starch and the green contains starch. Now there is one more note for you. Leaves of some plants, such as we got to know about Collis and Croton, are multicolored. They are their green leaves are non-green parts, means उनके जो हमारी leaves हैं वो colored नहीं है, means green color की नहीं है, बाकी और color की हैं. There we got to know that these plants also contain chlorophyll pigment. That means because of other pigments, this chlorophyll color gets mixed with them and converts into another color. मतलब हमारा यहाँ ये है कि अगर हम इसमें जो हमारे जो पिगमेंट्स इन दोनों प्लांट्स के लीव्स में प्रेजेंट हैं वो क्लोरोफिल से मिक्स होके दूसरा कलर बनाती है, लेकिन these plants have chlorophyll, they contain chlorophyll. Now carbon dioxide is necessary for plant or not? For testing this also we will be needing a set. Now take a plant that is detached from the main plant, means उसका हमें केवल एक branch लेना है and take the leaf of it and put it in the flax with potassium hydroxide. Why we are putting potassium hydroxide? Because it absorbs the carbon dioxide, so it will not let the carbon dioxide stay with the leaf there. Now set it out for about few hours, then take it out. Because this potassium hydroxide absorbs carbon dioxide, now we have kept it for few hours. What will happen next? Now detach the leaf that is in the flask and out of the flask. Both we have to take out. Now use the step of that testing a starch, both the leaf. Now what we will be observing, this is not correct, but what we will be observing, that the leaf that was in the flax wasn't turned, means it didn't turn into blue black color, but that was just a branch and the carbon dioxide was getting to that leaf contain starch, means that is having starch. So we got to know that carbon dioxide is also necessary for photosynthesis. Now synthesis of food other than carbon dioxide by plants, what are they? Means carbon dioxide that a plant synthesized during the photosynthesis are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. मतलब जो हमारे प्लांट्स हैं, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड मतलब मीन्स कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स जो हमारे बनाते हैं, दे मेक देम यूजिंग कार्बन, that is we can say carbon dioxide, hydrogen and oxygen. With these three types of gases, air that is present in the air, they make it. Now the proteins are made up of nitrogen, but there is a fact in it that the plants cannot take the nitrogen directly from the air. As we know that the nitrogen is present, about most of the nitrogen is present in our air, but they can't take this nitrogen directly from the air. So how do they? So let's talk about how do the plants get nitrogen. Okay, now soil contains certain bacteria. Now you will be thinking, from bacteria? Yes, from bacteria, that is called rhizobium, that converts atmospheric nitrogen into water soluble compounds. Then means these water soluble compounds are then taken by the plant to get nitrogen. Now in the second method, farmers add fertilizer rich in nitrogen to the soil, so those nitrogen are being absorbed by the plants. So first method is that the rhizobium, a bacteria called rhizobium, converts the atmospheric nitrogen into water soluble compounds that are absorbed by that types of nitrogen is being absorbed by plant. And second method is farmers add fertilizer rich in nitrogen to the soil. These soil are absorbed by plants. Now let's move to the another types of nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. So I first only told you about that these nutrition are from non-green plants, are of non-green and animals. So animals and non-green plants that cannot prepare their own food and depend directly or indirectly on plants are called heterotrophic nutrition. means they cannot prepare their own food, so they need their food from somewhere or else, no? So they get food from, they depend from plants only, that are autotrophic nutrition. So from herbivorous plant depend directly on plants for their nutrition, and then means carnivorous depends on other animals. Now we can see plants means herbivores are dependent on plants, and these carnivores are dependent on these herbivorous animals. So thus it tells us that the plant or the sun is the main source of energy for all living organisms. Means sun means this plant get energy from the sun, no? That's why the sun is the main source of energy for all living organisms. Now what is this parasitic or parasites? Means some non-green plants that live in or on other living organisms, means they depend on other living organisms. Such plants that suck food from other plants using root like structure from roots, from their stems, and etc. Such plants are called parasites. These plants are called parasites, and the plants from which these parasites gets its food is called a host plant. Some parasitic plants like Mistletoe, it is like this, means like this figure that is present here. This is a Mistletoe plant. So they generally grow on mangoes or mahua that have means these plants have green leaves. They can make their own food, but they take water and minerals from the host plant. So they are known as partial parasite. Means they take in food and nutrition from the other plant and then prepare their food. So they are known as partial parasite. Now we got to know about partial parasites and parasite, means what are parasites. Next, insectivorous plant, and what we know are saprophytic plant. Insectivorous plant, the plants that consume insects, that is wrong, isn't it? That consume insects by igneous method, means various methods, from by like in Venus flytrap we have a trap, they trap, and which pitcher plant they have a tube like structure from in which the insect get slipped and get trapped. So from igneous method they consume the insect. These are known as insectivorous plants. These plants grow in the soil that is not so rich, means they are not so rich in nutrition, nitrogen also. So they use this nutrition obtained from insects to supplement their food for photosynthesis. So these plants start obtaining the nutrition that are present in the insect to prepare to perform a photosynthesis. Now what is this saprophytic nutrition? The saprophytic nutrition are in mushrooms and other fungi and bacteria. Now some non-green plants that live on dead and decaying plants and derive their food from them are known as saprophytic nutrition. So in these plants we get these plants feed on dead and decaying plants that are derived from them, means that and derive their food from them. Derive here means जिससे वो अपना food अपने लिए लेते हैं. So this is known as saprophytic nutrition. Means this method of getting nutrition from dead and decaying matter is known as saprophytic nutrition. They are also known as saprotrophs, saprophytes, etc. Now, as we all know, the spores of fungus are always floating around the air. They start germinating when they get wet land, warm things. Fungi grow generally on shoes, clothes, pickles, and other articles which are kept in warm and humid weather. Means in warm and humid weather. There is a relationship between plants also, in which they help each other, and this is known as symbiosis. Now, what is this? For example, let me tell you. Fungus supplies, means there is a fungus, means in lichen we can say algae. A fungus supply water and minerals to the algae, and algae supplies food to the fungus. This mutually beneficial relationship is called symbiosis. मीन्स हमारा जो ये फंगस है वो प्लांट को, हमारी एल्गी प्लांट को food and water, means minerals and water, it is providing it, and algae is providing fungus food. This relationship, this beneficial relationship here means जो दोनों को फायदे में रखे. Here means दोनों को फायदे में रखे है. This relationship is called symbiosis. Now let's talk about an extra topic also, that replenishing nutrition in soil. Means in a forest, nutrition get naturally replenished by decaying of matter, that is plants and animals. But in farms, means in the fields where the crops are being grown, there manure and fertilizer are being added. And we also know that rhizobium cannot make their, we also should know that the rhizobium cannot make their own food. So they live on roots of leguminous plant. Now what is this leguminous plant? These are the plants which are rich in proteins. Like they are plants of grams, peas, moongs. They take the shelter of these types of plants. It in turn, like this symbiosis we get, these leguminous plants provide food to rhizobium. In turn, they provide नाइट्रोजन टू द प्लांट. मीन्स हमारा जो राइजोबियम है वो प्लांट को नाइट्रोजन प्रोवाइड करता है वाटर सॉल्युबल फॉर्म में. एंड दिस आर लेग्यूमिनस प्लांट्स, जिसमें हम ग्राम्स, पीस, प्रोटीन वाले प्लांट्स हैं. दे प्रोवाइड फूड टू द लेग्यूमिनस मीन्स राइजोबियम्स. नाउ मोस्ट of the nitrogen, means the proteins are made up of nitrogen. So these rhizobiums grow in protein rich plants, and thus the plants on which the rhizobium grows are rich in protein. Now one more thing, the farmers knows that they do not need to add nitrogen fertilizer in the soil when they have grown a leguminous plant. Means all the farmers knows that when they will grow a leguminous plants, they do not need a fertilizer to be grown there. So about this chapter we have mostly completed. So in next time I will be bringing you a new chapter. So thank you, and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. study with Gracie and creative minds together. Thank you.